But in this position, I can still strike. Oh, I've got that shot in there, right? And I still have the knife controlled in a position where I can now lock.
Dealing with an assailant with a knife is stressful, even to think about. In my last video on this topic, I had the boys over at West Coast Krav Maga show me the parry and pop technique. Click the link in the description if you want to watch that video. It's a great technique. We even stress tested it a little bit. I'm dead. But ultimately we decided that there's just too much to cover on this topic for one video. Sometimes you can't just run away from your problem, and you'll need to know how to control the attacker's knife. So for the follow-up, I went to California Defense Academy to talk with a short king named Lewis. He teaches Krav Maga and MDS. I wanted his unique and sometimes violent perspective on controlling a knife should I ever be attacked.
So the parry and pop, you had told me, is good for a guy like me. I don't know how to take that, personally.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm short dad bod and T-Rex arms, and so I can parry, but I may not always land the pop.
Okay,
right?
that makes sense, because your arm, my length is much longer than your length.
Right, and
just for comparison, folks, let's take a look here.
And so the parry and pop relies on recognition that the weapon's out and space. And the violence is already occurring. I think that the parry and pop is great if I can recognize it and I can create that distance and parry and move out.
Lewis approves of the parry and pop. However, if Lewis were to utilize the parry and pop method, he has to approach it differently because he is very much a short king.
For me, if I parry and try to pop, my arm being so much shorter than your range doesn't give me that opportunity. So I have to sometimes modify what I do to be a little bit more on the pain side and to be a little bit more on the aggressive side to give myself the openings to get away. So if I'm already here and I see the weapon, I can hit with my knuckles across. Back of your hand has a lot of nerve endings, a lot of sensitive points. So when I hit, that's going to give a response to the other person, some sort of pain response. So if I hit, now I've got the opportunity that I want to move away. He's got to make the choice, is that a big enough deterrent? Or the other option is make it painful and then just start attacking at that point and moving in forward. And there's always that, which causes pain twice, and then I can get away a lot faster.
Okay, now we get into the nitty-gritty wrestling techniques that we'll have to utilize for when it's too late to parry and pop. Perhaps there is not enough space, or you have no choice but to wrestle with this person because there's no way your toddler who is with you can run as fast as you.
So I'm here, I'm reaching for my wallet. Hey, don't I have kids? I have a wife, whatever it may be, right? From here, I'm peeling and I'm gonna be stepping in and I wanna control the knife at this point. Me controlling the back of this arm is basically like creating a doorstop for that arm. At this point, if you try to bring the knife back, it's a lot harder. I can actually then either keep some form of control and control the elbow, which is where you get some wrestling techniques in and start creating pressure on the elbow, or I can transition and keep striking and going into positions that I'm familiar with. As we all know, you know, a lot of Krav Maga ends up in this position. It's a strong position where I'm here, I've got weight on the outside, and really the amount of pressure that they can put on a blade to cut me becomes
it's significantly, you're still likely gonna get some hair shaved here. It could be bad for you, but it's much better than getting this deep into you.
Right, and the thing is, I'm not stopping here, right? I'm striking, I'm still gonna be working all of my techniques that I want to make you forget that you have a knife in your hand. I'm trying to make sure that you never regain the ability to think of the attack.
And that's sort of a reoccurring theme here. Make them forget they have a knife with pain compliance. People often poo-poo Krav Maga and MDS because they don't believe in pain compliance. I know this from the comments on my videos. Feel free to chime in if you agree with them. I'm open to all points of view. People often accuse these techniques as being McDojo-esque, but Lewis's thought process is pain is only the first step in the technique.
I find that it's a good combination of both. Once I'm here, now I can start driving in. Now if I want to start bringing in, I'm gonna start driving and doing what I need to do, right? And at this point, for me, my takeaway is either keep hitting you until you drop the knife, or I just walk away with your arm, right? Either or. But that's after constant striking and combatives, right?
What we're trying to accomplish here is we're trying to take away the dopamine loop that the criminal gets from stabbing a person. Yes, that's right. There's a feedback reward that people get when they are successfully doing violence to you. Let me have Lewis explain this.
You know, you get the same response in terms of like when we spar, right? If we spar and we have one combination that always works, then we don't change the combination.
I've been there.
Right, and so we look at it and we're like, well, look, I'm not getting hit and I'm getting the reward that I'm looking for, which is hitting the other person because it's working. It produced results for you, right? And the same thing happens when I'm stabbing someone. If nothing is deterring me from changing the trajectory of the stab or from changing my mentality, every time I stab, I'm getting my reward. So why am I changing it? If my purpose was to stab you, then as soon as I stab, oh, that worked, so I can pull out, oh, it worked again. Oh, it worked again. So some of the stuff that we talk about is making people change that mentality. And sometimes that's either by blocking and deterring the strike. It might be by causing pain throughout the process and making you change. But you also have to understand that the moment you make me reevaluate my attack, now it may lead to a different attack. So I have to also neutralize or look at ways to neutralize that attack. If we're close, the parry and pop may not be the most effective thing here, but I can always come back in to
and now I have to reevaluate as the attacker
everything that you're doing because I'm eliminating your possibility of that tool. The other thing is, you know, as I've said before, if we're close and I feel that, I might start just attacking the arm, and if I can't get a hold of it. Why? Because I want you to have to rethink the position of the stab.
This is no longer an easy reward for me. Oh,
now I'm going to come in, and now I might start striking, hitting, elbowing the arm, coming in, and now I can start controlling what I want to do, right? But if I have pain, that causes that deterrence a lot of the times, right? Even from a medium distance where the parry may not necessarily be working, I can start attacking that arm so that I know that that trajectory isn't really the thought process, and that buys me that opportunity to try to neutralize the threat in some sort of way.
Okay, before all the wrestling and jiu-jitsu guys run to the comment section, it still goes without saying that you have to be a reasonably effective fighter if you're gonna tie up with a guy with a knife.
If I'm going here, there's nothing that stops you from doing just your basic wrist release and retaining the knife. Anybody who's trained in any form of knife retention or just wanted to fight for their weapon, the moment you feel that touch, your instinct is going to be to drive in, which still puts me in a position where I'm scrambling and I don't feel that I have as much control. But for me, if I stop the recoil altogether, now
I can't try and retain the knife.
Right, and with knives, like I've been taught, it's the one weapon that can hurt you going in and coming out. So if I'm pinned against the wall or have any sort of scenario, right, it's the same concept where I'm still controlling the knife. Doesn't matter if the threat's coming from the front or if the threat's coming from the other side, I'm still teaching the same large motor movements to everybody that's doing this, and it still leads me to some form of a controlled position. Two hands being utilized, this is very much a bad situation because obviously if his hand's occupied, he's not looking to gain anything from my body. So this is no longer, give me your wallet, give me your keys. This is very much probably gonna be an, I'm going to kill you or I'm going to do something. So this underhook, it gets me too tangled up, and if he's really stiff on that arm, I'm gonna not be able to really get it. So again, I'm complying, right? I'm gonna have my hands up. This prevents headbutts or anything like that, right? And I'm like, hey, relax. This is where it's still a social situation. As I come in, I'm gonna start striking, control. And now I can take it and do some sort of cavalier. I can go into elbow locks. I can do whatever feels natural at that point. So I can go underhook if I need to, and I can start hyperextending, right? But in this position, I can still strike. I've got that shot in there, right? And I still have the knife controlled in a position where I can now lock, right? Nothing ever happens the same way, which is why it's more principle-based for me than technique-based.
And that principle applies to gut,
whether it's here, I'm always looking to redirect and create that, create an opportunity for me to either attack, right? Which in this case, if you have your hand here, boom, I'm gonna come in. I love a headbutt on my way in, and now I can start to hug and control the weapon. I always try to gain as much control over the weapon as I possibly can.
Ultimately, you're getting stabbed, though.
Yeah, so
it's like you've got to accept this idea that if you're going to take this route, you're going to get stabbed.
There's a very high probability, if not 100% probability, that you are going to get damaged with the knife. To me, it's how much damage do you take.
Right.
If we're close quarter and I'm already getting stabbed, I may not be stopping the first one. I may not be stopping the second one as they come in, because remember, they're going to come in, but I may stop the third or the fourth, right? Things happen so quickly and so dynamically that it's very hard to stop that initial attack. It's just minimize the damage that you take. Okay. Understand the body language that people may have. Slashes, they have to lean back if they're gonna slash forward. So even if they're close quarter, there still has to be that motion to slash. If they're backhanding, it's looking for the posturing, the positions, and understanding that, hey, I need to have my hands up to be able to protect myself, right?
So there's definitely more to cover on this topic. And if you feel I've missed anything, please let me know in the comments. Anyway, thanks for watching, and feel free to subscribe. It helps a new channel grow.